Hi all, David here on to part two and step two, which is about affection. Now we use the word affection a little differently than a lot of people. It has to do with how the world affects you. So what we're focusing on are our feelings. We're being aware and honoring and paying close attention to our feelings as important information because it not only tells you what you're feeling, but it generally reflects what's happening around you. And it also helps direct you. So in step one, in paying attention, we were aware of the physical space. We were aware of this space and aware of this space. So there's a lot of information that's being taken in. Affection, or noticing how all of this affects you, will let you know where to go from there. So both of these are internal. Steps one and two, attention and affection, are internal. They give you information. They let you know what to do with steps two and or three and four, which are the actual teaching, the actual moving forward, the out breath, if you will, of action. And so in paying attention to ourselves and how we feel, we want to keep focusing on safety and groundedness, because those are the gateway through which children will then be able to take the information in. It's already a foreign environment to be in a classroom. The most calming space for a lot of people is, outside, open, smell the air, um, look out the window, see ourselves in space, in a real space. In the classroom, we can still do that, but it's one step removed from that natural space. And then in an online classroom, almost all of that is taken away. And all we have are these visuals of faces. And so we need to be able to ground ourselves, make ourselves feel safe, start with our own feelings. And then, because so much of our information is being broadcast to the other children, we want to genuinely, authentically be in that safe, grounded space and broadcast that. We don't want to pretend. So one of the things is what you do before teaching in order to get yourself grounded. Some people will do exercise, some people will eat something, some people will say a verse or sing a song. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself into a really present space so that your full apparatus is at full capacity, because they will notice if it's not. Just not to put pressure on you, it's just what's so. They are getting you up close. So do what you need to do. If you can be mobile, consider going outside, or at least bring yourself to a space that you feel grounded. Have something that you can touch, that you can reach out and experience. Smells. Open the window so you can hear the birds. Have some tea nearby, or burn some incense, or a scented candle. Anything that's going to talk to the animal of you to just come. And then you can present that to everyone in your Zoom room, in your online learning space. So do keep in mind that not everybody likes all this eye contact. So it's okay to not look at the screen. You can look at the other children and engage that way. You can do a lot of your teaching off here or off here, because all that eye contact and all those faces are actually adding to some of the fatigue. Imagine when you're in a classroom and you're sitting in the back row, all you see are backs of heads, and then you see the teacher, and you can do all the mirroring, et cetera, that we talked about with that individual. Now everybody's turned around and they're looking at you. See, it's anxiety provoking. So that's what that grid is all about. Even with speaker view, you still have a number of faces that are facing towards you. So I believe the most potent remedy for helping you get into a safe and grounded space, and then helping you know how the variety of things that are happening before you affect you, which will then give you emotional information to help you move forward with your lesson is to get yourself into a storytelling space, is to focus on sound rather than all the visuals. You can't really affect what they can smell, what they can taste, and what they're touching, unless in approach, we'll talk a little bit about this, can have props that everybody has, and you can imagine what it feels like for them to do it because you're doing it yourself. So ultimately, your most powerful tool is your voice rather than your face. It's your voice. And so I encourage you all to seriously try to speak like a storyteller, talk like a storyteller. I am a storyteller. I'm practiced in this. It doesn't sound weird when I talk this way. It won't sound weird when you talk this way, because you're tapping into a very old way of talking. And what happens is that children and grown-ups, for that matter, will be lulled by it. They will go into something of a trance. And it's in that trance that you have a great deal of power. When your students are in a trance-like state, they're very receptive, they're very open and available. And then you can very carefully insert bits of the curriculum of the lesson into them while they're in that trance. You will have better ability to do that if you're in the same room with them, even if you're wearing a mask, if you are able to use this storytelling kind of speaking. Now, this is a full training. This is a big part of what I do for a living, is to teach people how to do this very effectively. But there are things that you can practice right now. And it's a certain kind of speech in which you are aware of pitch and changes in pitch, going up and going down. Monotone makes people nervous because that means you're tense. When we're tense, we become monotone and we keep staying in the same space, and we say what it is that we want people to. We can even have lots of expressions, but if we are staying in this monotone, it means that something's off. So consciously raise up your voice at certain points. You don't even have to do the gesture, just raise up your voice, and they will be up here and they will follow you all the way back down. So those changes in pitch, that's soothing and it's engaging, and it welcomes them into that trance space. The same thing with rhythm and with the way in which you are, the pacing. So if you get to a point where you're saying the chair, the stool, the bike, the window, the light, all of these things, and then we say the cup of tea on the desk, still steaming, waiting for you. Doesn't matter what you're saying. It's completely captivating. So be aware of picking up the rhythm and then slowing it down. And then lastly, the pause before the big reveal. Know that you can pause. There is something about online teaching that makes you want to go fast. Use that. Pay attention, and we'll go over that in approach. Pay attention to your group so you can modulate. But then know that their attention is always going to be slightly compromised with it being on a screen. So if you really want to deliver one thing, pause before it and then deliver it. It's a cue. It means that something big is happening. It means if they're drifted off, suddenly their attention is back on you. Why are they pausing? Something important is about to happen. Use that on your online teaching. Use it everywhere in your life. But the pause is incredibly powerful, and you can go a lot longer than you think. When I work with people and ask them to pause, it's that long. You can go really long. And it's not uncomfortable. In fact, it's very soothing. So keep all of these things in mind. As you get yourself grounded and settled, and then you can notice how the world is affecting you, how each individual is affecting you, what feelings come up. What feelings come up as you're anticipating the next part of the lesson? What feelings come up when someone freezes up on Zoom or you freeze up on Zoom? You're always paying attention, step one, to affection, step two, to give you information on how to do step three, which is to approach the lesson, approach the teaching, approach the curriculum, and approach your plan. And that's what we will do in the next video. I'll see you there.